Ultron creates, Thanos and creates the gods on Titan and his old version of that pantheon. We now have what we have with the Marvel Universe. And even with the DC Universe that they're kind of trying to reboot, they were trying to get Darkseid in there, but it was just too convoluted. Kirby's hands are all over this stuff. And I find that very interesting because I know that, again, it's hard to know, what did Stan Lee do? What did Jack Kirby do? But we know for sure that Jack Kirby had a lot to do with a great deal of the comics that came out of Marvel and then DC for a long time. And especially the cosmic ended stuff, which is pretty incredible. So, you don't have Galactus, you don't have the Silver Surfer, you don't have the Celestials, you certainly don't have the Fantastic Four or Doctor Doom without Jack Kirby, which is, pretty amazing.
You're exactly right. And I think about this in terms of music, and I think about the band, They Might Be Giants, the two Johns. I can't remember their last names, but they made this amazing documentary a long, long, long time ago, and Leah and I are huge They Might Be Giants fans. And the one They Might Be Giant is, in my opinion, the Stan Lee of the bunch, and the other one is the Jack Kirby of the bunch. And the one was never out front with the pushing of the band. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, I just love writing songs. And they asked him in the movie, what would you be doing if you didn't have this great success with all of your albums, all of your tours, all of your fandom? And he was like, oh, I would just be writing songs in my bedroom. And the other guy was just like, there was never any doubt.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee is, there was never any doubt.
Exactly.
Jack Kirby was just like, I was just feeding my family,
Yeah, he was like the progenitive idea genius, and I think Stan Lee was the public face, the person that did the legwork in terms of being that media presence, for a long, long time. And so it's interesting because this is the same sort of thing I think about when we think about the way that Jim Starlin, doesn't really like Marvel or Stan Lee by virtue of author credits, things like that. That Bob Kane was the creator of Batman for many, many, decades until Bill Finger's family finally won. And now they have joint created, licenses that they've come into a windfall of money. But it's how the separation of the artistic process, because if you can create, but you can't represent or be in public or be a public face or advertise or even be a shill, it'll never go anywhere. You need someone to be that entity. And Stan Lee was that entity for decades.
Yeah.
That was his role. And he can say, well, yes, I helped do this and I helped do that. But you're like, okay, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but how successful is Marvel without him? Unknown, right? Probably not as successful as it is with him. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think you can never ever quantify that, but I read a long, long, long time ago. I read the Marvel Untold story, and Stan Lee was just this annoying little rat that was in the shop all the time, giving everybody a hard time, but didn't he turn it around, man? He took Timely Comics and made Marvel, and
exactly. Well, the house is. That he had big. He dreamt big, and that's what it took.
Yeah.
Because it's music is a lot like that from my perspective. Being a person that does music, it's like you can write the most brilliant songs in the world, but if you don't have the means and the method to stick them out to people, no one ever knows. Emily Dickinson wasn't known as a poet until she was dead, and then they found all of her stuff in trunks, and they're like, "This is some of the most brilliant stuff ever written." In her lifetime, she was just a woman who lived her life. So it's like these things only matter if you have a way to put them out to a lot of people, or the right people who then put it out to a lot of people. So I see that as kind of Stan Lee's legacy, for lack of a better term. Right. This larger-than-life figure that may have taken more credit than he was due, but also had a lot to do with the success that is Marvel Comics and just the Marvel Universe at large.
Marvel Universe. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, you want to bring it on home? Oh, we didn't even talk about Electric Warriors. I love this book so much, dude. Have you ever read the Commandy stuff?
You know what? I only little snippets. I have not spent a lot of time with it, and I feel woefully uneducated about this stuff. I mean, I know about Commandy, and I know about the great disaster that Jack Kirby set up, and
yeah. So this all ties into Electric Warriors all ties into the Jack Kirby Commandy stuff. Now, Commandy is my guy. I love the Commandy stuff. It does get a little repetitive, a little wordy. I feel like Jack was just sort of like here, like there was like every episode, every issue was just so like, I already read this. You skim a lot, but it was so neat to see. It was just so neat to see like everything after the Great Disaster. I just love seeing like Mount Rushmore broken in half and like all moss covered, and it was just cool. It was just cool. And then there was Commandy like fighting animals that are people, you know.
Exactly.
And then so I feel like this is taking off into that same direction. Like, so the animals and the people became they had an impasse, and the animals treat the people as, so it was sort of a Planet of the Apes thing.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Good stuff. It was good stuff. And this Electric Warriors is just more of the same good stuff. And God, I love this first issue. And I haven't read the second issue. I saw it pop up. I'm subscribed to it. So you liked it, right? You liked it?
No, I thought it was interesting. And I think it's interesting because this is a whole section of the DC universe that is pretty unexplored. You know, like we know a lot about like the 20 to 21st century DC. We know a decent amount about the near future DC. We know plenty about the 31st century DC, which is where the Legions of Superheroes come from. Uh-huh. And we even know about 85,000 years from now where the Justice Legion comes from. But we don't know a whole lot about the Great Disaster. And in previous incarnations in the DC universe, when they had all the multiverse stuff that collapsed and expanded again, you know, the idea that the Great Disaster happened in the current DC timeline was kind of off shunted to a like it was an alternate reality or a different Earth.
Yeah.
Again. So now Cry has the Shroud of Kal-El, which I find very fascinating.
Oh, I love that part. I loved it.
With the tiny little tie back to everything else. So that's interesting. I think it's I like the fact that's where they're going, because it's such fertile ground. And they can basically do whatever they like as long as they try to find a way to tether the past into the future.
I love when they do that. I love when they tie all that stuff together. When they just throw me a little bone, you know, like, I love anything that we're like, oh my God, that's continuity.
Yeah, no, it's like fan service for the geeks for sure.
Yeah.
One of the I read the book and then I read an interview with Steve Orlando about it, and one of the things I thought was interesting was he said that if the Legion of Superheroes is the universe's age of enlightenment, the setting of Electric Warriors is more akin to the Dark Ages. So that's where everything's kind of grasping to get back to some like semblance of civilization. And they're being recognized in a cosmic sense of being a planet that has something to contribute again, which is interesting. So I like that.
Yeah, this is good stuff. If you're not reading, get on board. This is I don't know, but again, like if this was your first comic, you would be lost. You would be completely lost. But maybe you would have enough to gleam to, and you would like the characters for sure. Like like the octopus lady. Oh, she's awesome. And the main character, just total badass. I mean,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I like how they're tethered together, whether they like it or not. That I think is pretty cool. So
yeah. All right, let's wrap it up because I gotta go to bed, man. I gotta work tomorrow early. Oh, but you're gonna get up earlier than me, man.
You do actually. If you want to know the honest to goodness truth, Kristen and I basically work out 3 days a week at 5 o'clock in the morning, and tomorrow's one of those days. So I'll be getting at 5 a.m. to go roll into our garage that's already set up with our little kettlebell gym to do our workout tomorrow. So, yes.
My God! All right, well we're gonna say Merry Christmas, and Ryan, Kristen, we miss you.
We miss you too. Mele Kalikimaka.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. We're going to blast off. And thanks for being here, Ryan. And don't hang up. We're going to talk a little bit more. But we'll just let the music play us out.
Sounds fantastic, brother. Hey, anytime. You just let me know when you want somebody to jump aboard. I'm in.
Oh, this was so much fun. This is so much fun.
Back at you, my man.
All right. Hang on a second. Let this music play us out.